Well, hello and welcome to that favorite part of the day. You hope you braved through the rush hour. You are sat home, you're relaxing, flipping through the channels to see, what's happening today. Is the water still safe to drink? Is there a bomb that's gone off somewhere? Everything is fine. But what are we talking about this evening? The big question, what next? What next after the big media euphoria? For once, Ghana came together, all alive, all aware of our environment, which is good. Nobody's contending that. And we said enough of that. No more mining in water bodies, no more destruction of our forest. We needed our environment. That's what's going to take care of us. And it was good. Education went down. All media houses jumped on the bandwagon. I did. Many houses did. And day in, week out, we were hammering. Along came, anti-Galamsey hero, John Peter Amewu, who occupied the office as Minister of Land and Natural Resources and hit the road and made sure that, everybody who's small-scale miner was off the field until such time a plan was put in place, then we can start mining again. But my big question today is, what next? After we all jumped in this bandwagon and made sure that, and a good chunk of them are out, even though there are still some unscrupulous ones still mining, a great chunk of, small-scale miners are off. But what next? Are they now going to be employed at multimedia? Are they now going to, be turned into carpenters? Are they going to Flagstaff House? What are they going to do? Are they going to be doctors, nurses? What next? Because somehow there should be a plan to assimilate all these teeming numbers and millions, if not close. What are we going to do? That's the question today. What next? My name is Anan Sakwa, the fourth chief of the famous Little Republic of Akomo-Dumasa. When I come back, I am talking to a lover of environment to find out what next before we hit the environment again. Don't move. Well, what next? After the big euphoria, after the awareness, after, minimizing Galamsey and all its effect, what next? What do we do with all the teaming army? And with me in the studio from Friends of Rivers and Water Bodies is not Nana Sarpong, but Nana Sarpong's brother, who's also part of it. Indeed, he's the coordinator for the Greater Accra Division, and is Dwomoh Sarpong. Alan, you're welcome.
Thank you, Nana.
It's the first time I'm hosting your new show. So the culture is that Ambantams are all first-timers. I find them a bottle of drink, and my viewers and I will share.
I will graciously oblige.
So, first of all, before we even get to what next, has the campaign worked?
Yes, I think the campaign has really worked. And in fact, I'm a bit surprised, because when it started, I thought it was just going to be a few weeks, but the media really helped and sustained. And I believe that the entire Ghanaian populace are behind the government to get rid of this menace.
But it's amazing, because I haven't seen like military men or some Apache helicopters or anything. All we decided was that, look, enough is enough. No, get off the water field, and they did. So is that what we should have done a long time ago?
Yes, that is why you see this work that we are doing, the advocacy, is a very strong weapon, because then at the end of the day, the entire population is saying, get out of this place. On radio, on TV, all over the place, people are discussing it in the buses, in the car, and they are human. So it works.
Are there any river bodies that are showing signs that, look, there's not, there's not enough illegal, there isn't illegal activity going on, so the waters are clearing up?
Yesterday I had pictures of Brim, and it's doing quite well. And I'm quite happy that even on social media, people are putting updates how the water bodies are rejuvenating, which is quite interesting.
The brim, there was a picture of a brim.
Yes, that it is quite before and now. And the difference is fantastic.
I saw I went to Ghana Water Company,
Yeah.
and they showed me some drone pictures of the brim.
Yeah.
From a layman point of view, I didn't think that the river could ever come back.
Oh no, it will, and especially this is raining season. So yes, so if it rains, it recharges. But what used to happen was that there was a continuous pollution, so the water was not getting, enough time to recharge and then to flow. So if it is allowed, by December, all of them or most of them will get back to. But what I'm not sure is the chemical content that was that the water bodies were polluted with. That I am not sure. Maybe
it will take some time before it washes out.
Yeah, it will take some time before it washes out.
But it's clearing up.
Very, yeah. Most of them are.
The Christian Council, I wouldn't say it's an ultimatum, but maybe a mandate, gave the president a mandate that, look, within his 4 years within his 4-year term, before he stands to run again or retire, whatever he wants to do, but within his 4-year term, he should make the brim drinkable again. And I think that's a very good objective for a leader to set, being that he comes from the brim region, to say that, look, within my 4 years, I will make you drink brim again. I think it's a challenge that he should take it up.
I believe so, and I think he can do it. As I said earlier on, the entire Ghanaian populace are behind him, so he has what it takes to be able to do it.
What has been the challenge so far? I mean, like, for instance, water bodies, from when the media's campaign started and now, what's been your main challenge?
The challenge has always been that, for example, like I always talk about the district assembly's concept, which is decentralization, that must be made to focus on protecting the natural environment in those areas. I don't think there's enough resources to ensure that, and I also don't think that there's enough resources for the Water Resource Commission to also do the kind of monitoring activities that must be done. So we will go, we will see it, we will come and talk about it, but in the end, some people must take action and make sure that that is the challenge, especially for the water bodies.
Let me also apologize to viewers that Hard Truth was not aired on Wednesday due to some technical glitch, but next week Hard Truth is definitely coming back. So all those who tuned in hoping to watch Hard Truth, massive apologies, but next week it will be coming on. Alan, when the media campaign started, I mean, there were people who were not happy. I mean, there was Bronzy One, and there were, few Bronzy Ones all scattered who were not happy at all. People who gathered and started the usual threats, Dwomoh, that usual threat. I mean, your organization, how do you deal with it? I mean, did you some education or just leave it to whistle down? Or how do we manage that?
You see, what I think is that this is a democracy, and a democracy means rule of law. So people's livelihood, people's businesses and other things are secondary issues. Is it legal? Is it legitimate? So that is the first question. So if it passes that, then the business will be allowed to run. So our attitude towards this is that, why should we allow, let's say there are 1 million people. This is 27 million population. So probably about 4% of the population. Why should we sit down and allow them to endanger our lives, our environment, even up to the pollution of our neighboring countries' waters, which is unacceptable. So my attitude is that everybody has the right to work, to take up any livelihood, but it has to be legal. And that message must be clear to everybody. Otherwise, this country is not going to work. So that is the attitude. And I think that is what the minister did, that stop everything because it is illegal. If you have any other issues, come, let's sit down, let's talk and see the way forward.
I guess that's what today's big question is, what next?
Yes.
So what next? Because you guys are at the forefront of this fight. So what next?
So what I think is that we should say to ourselves from today onwards what is necessary. Never again should this country sit down to allow few people to put us through this. Look at the life that has been lost. Look at the properties. Look, this is not good for anybody who is involved in this, except few people. So the people who are even agitating, they are victims, because they don't even know the consequences of the activities that they are getting themselves involved. The risk level. So I was just told, before I came here, I chanced on one, by divine grace, one guy who has been involved in Galamsey. And so I asked him, how much do you make? He told me 2,000 cedis a week. So I said, have you calculated the chemicals that has gone into? So even if you sit down with them, it is not even in their own. They are just looking at the figure, the money, the physical cash in their pocket. But the consequences thereof to themselves, to their family, and to the environment is greater. So that message must be clear. Nobody must be pampered with that.
But you see, I understand that, well, look, what you're doing is illegal and don't get involved in it. They all say, look, we're getting involved because, we don't have any opportunities anywhere. I think there's somewhere in between this fine line where probably the state either has to create awareness, listen, the chemical injection is worth, it's more than 2,000 cedis that you're spending, because the amount of money you'll be spending to clean your liver in the next 5 years' time.
If you are able to clean it.
If you're able to clean it, dialysis, will wipe out everything that you have.
But
so maybe
Nana, even me, I'm not cutting, but what my attitude towards this is that, why they don't have anything? If they don't mine on that land, can they farm on that land? The land can be used for farming.
But see, that's where probably the state comes in to educate or inform or enlighten or enhance. I don't know. But what is the state's role in bridging that gap?
I believe that I've not really seen the new proposal and the plans that the minister wants to roll out. But in there, they are talking about livelihood, pushing people to planting for food and jobs and so on and so forth, and then retraining people, and then allocating certain demarcated areas where they will be monitored and supervised and make sure that they mine according to our rules, and then for their own safety, and then for the benefit of the economy. So I think that that is a good plan if they are truly going to roll that out.
You see, but the danger is, there's a young man, probably 23 years old, earns 2,000 cedis a week. That's like, to him, that's a lot of money. He has access to his cars, his girls, his bitters with concoction in it. I mean, unless he's going to farm miracles, where is he going to get 2,000 cedis a week from? Because they're used to that quick money. And if you say, look, plant corn and wait for 4 months, dry it, bag it, or plant cassava and wait for 6 months or a year, coconut or wait for 5 years. I mean, that's where the challenge is. How do you tame them down? That, listen, take your time, long term, you make that money. That would be a big, big problem.
Yes, that is why I'm saying that we have to be frank with these people and say that, okay, this is what you're doing, but it is totally illegal. It is totally unacceptable. It is not even good for your health, for your environment. What is the cost to the people who lost their life, their family today? Those people who were crashing. So people must be told the hard truth. That's what I'm saying. I started by saying that we have to be honest with people. We are not living in anarchy. We are living in democracy. It is rule of law. Bad for them, but that is how you and I are living. We have to wait and plant corn for 6 months. About maybe 96% of the population, we are working so hard, and we have to wait so hard and for us to make a living. So and there's nowhere in the world, even our neighboring countries that we call them lawless countries, they don't allow that. If it is not right, it is not right. So they must be told. So nobody should give them any quick fix. We should not be promising them. They need to understand that this is life. And
this is a question I probably asked a million times, but how did we get here? where, you know, everybody thinks, oh, so far as I have a pickaxe, then that's it. I can, you know, hit the land and dig somewhere. And in terms of like digging in water.
Yes, I think that this sums up the lawlessness that we are talking about, and it starts from even the very people who are to enforce the law. If you have watched the announced tape, the very people who are in those areas to make sure that these things don't happen, they are the people who aid them. So that is why the minister, I believe that he has to create watchmen who will be watching the watchmen. So he has to be watching throughout, because this fight is not going to be easy. Because even the very people who are supposed to enforce that. And then, so that is one part. And then the second part is greed and impunity and get quick rich syndrome, which is part of our society. So everybody just think that they have
Is the announced tape, anyway, you guys, maybe he's giving you a preview. He's giving you guys a preview.
No, the Galamsey one, it has been shown on TV several times.
I missed that one. But you see, Alan, if you get to a stage, I mean, like this is your glass of water. I mean, if I get to a stage where I have to put a security man here, otherwise you're going to put something bad in your own water.
Yes.
That's a very strange place for every human being to be.
Yes.
So, and we can't police all these people. How do we do, or what do we do to bring people up to a level where they then realize that no, I mean, this is water and I dare not go near it.
Yeah.
But to police ourselves from poisoning our own water, that's a different...
It's quite... it's bizarre, but that is the fact. But law enforcement doesn't need to punish everybody. I work in the university, and sometimes we have deviants and miscreant students, a lot of them. But if we are able to get 1 or 2 or 3 people and punish them and publish it, I think that, and so if they want to stop some of these things, they have to be targeting the right people, those who really benefit so big, not those young men who are being used on the sites that they go and run them up. You are not going to end this. So people must be punished, and punished severely, so that it will deter others from doing that. As you said, you cannot be policing everywhere. You can't be everywhere all the time. But my argument also has also been that every district in this country, there is a DC, there is a police officer, BNI, top security chiefs. People are there, opinion leaders who are supposed to make sure that they take care of the environment. So who is making sure that these people do their work?
Well, you know, the chief would then turn out, DC would then tell us, well, the guy came from Accra with his permits to say he's allowed to mine. And, you know, nobody's there to know that, you know, if you're supposed to mine 3 latitude and 4, you know, longitude, it's this plot and not that plot. I mean, he's in the middle of the bush with a paper, with a side plan. How do you determine whether he's standing on this plot or on that plot?
Okay, that is an excuse. Like, for example, if you are on your land and somebody comes there with a paper and you are not aware where exactly the person must be and what the person is about, all you have to do is to cross-check from where the person is getting the permit from, and you will know where exactly the person is supposed to be. So I think that if we don't do that, then in the end, people can even bring fake permits and just start working.
Well, I mean, we haven't done that in the past. And so far, all we've done is jumped up and down on the media, and people have left. And they've all left with the intention that, look, there's some new plan going to come so that we go back and then work with this plan. Nobody knows what the plan is yet. So are we going to wake up and then just realize that, look, they are all back anyway?
That must not happen. And I believe that that is not going to happen. That is why I'm saying that the approach that the minister and his team have taken is the right approach. Number one, you have to let them know that what they are doing is illegal, so stay away. Providing with other livelihood and other things is a secondary matter. And I know that most of them will be disappointed with the alternative that will be given to them.
The issue with small-scale miners is that
The Galamsey, yes.
The Galamsey, yes.
Yes.
I mean, there were some who claimed to have a license, but because they're still classified as small scale, they have been asked to stand aside.
Okay.
So there are those who are quote unquote supposed to be legal waiting to come back, and
Yes.
they are all on standby.
Yes.
And so
those who have small scale mining licenses, they are legitimate miners, except that probably some of them have gone beyond what they are supposed to, and those licenses must be taken from them. But those who are doing legitimate business, I think that the whole thing was too crowded, so they just wanted to put a stop to anything that looks like a Galamsey activity, so that they can really distinguish between those who are legitimate and who are not, and who are even legitimate but operating illegitimately by even mining in water bodies, which is not acceptable anywhere in the world.
Let me deviate a little bit. So here we are, struggling with Galamsey. We've gotten some off, trying to keep them off. And then the government comes and announces that, we have bauxite, so I'm bringing some big boys in to come and mine bauxite. I mean, what's the position of Friends of Water? Have you taken any position on that, or you are standing back?
They have signed an MOU, so that is very initial. So, and we don't know the details of the agreement that they are talking about. So, but if it is really going to be something that is going to be detrimental to the environment,
but it will be.
We are
but that amount of bauxite, I mean, unless you mine it in the air,
sure.
It's definitely going to be detrimental. So
yes.
I was just wondering what the position would be.
No,
I mean, considering we haven't even solved our immediate problems.
Yes.
I was surprised that we are jumping to the next phase.
Yeah, but I believe that the extraction of any minerals or resource anywhere in the world will cause some kind of distraction to the environment. But we will oppose strongly if it will affect, maybe deplete our forest or affect our water bodies. But if it is a bare land and it happens there, they can reclaim the land and plant trees. So all those plans must be put in place. And I believe that since it is going to be done at that level, all those things will be factored in. There are big mining companies in Ghana, and they are mining, but they are recouping back the lands and planting trees, which is fine.
But I'm going to take a break here, and then when I come back, hopefully we'll get some other different perspective to join the conversation. But what next after we kick everybody off the land? Stay tuned, we're coming straight back. Well, thank you very much for staying. And one such person who joined this crusade, and he didn't just come empty-handed, he came with his paper behind him, the Daily Graphic, and that's Ken Ashibe, and he put in everything to make sure that the nation was saved. Good cause by all accounts. So that was Ken Ashibe. And so probably it's a good time to put the question to him. And Ken has been on the show a couple of times where we are talking about Galamsey and what to do. And you know what? We've cleared quite a number of people of our lands. As Alan said, the Brim is even recovering. Can you imagine? I'm sure the gods in the Brim may be having a field day. But what next? Joining us now is Ken Ashibe, MD of Graphic. Ken, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Nana. How are you doing?
I'm very good. Ken, the big question is what next?
Well, what next is the fact that we should all be mourning now, but if we go to Zuta, most of the people there are not crying. And you become so antiseptic to our people dying that when we have people dying in the pit, nothing bothers us. So we definitely need to move to the next stage of this campaign. And for me, I call on the president that the death of these people in the pit signals the time to bring in the law enforcement agencies, because the part of the plan is to have them in the field for a year, so that we can ensure that the recalcitrant ones who are still in the pits, mining at night, mining in precarious places, we can deal with them. But then once we do that, immediately is to also start the issues of reclamation, of the land and our water bodies, and in the process, make sure that we are able to give jobs to the people who've been involved in the Galamsey. We also need to work on putting in the systems for sustainable mining, and then making sure that we have the system that would police and ensure that, when we mine in a very sustainable manner. Safety, protection for the people, for the environment is taken into consideration. We should ensure also that we are managing all the way up to processing, refining, and making sure we do value addition. Because we've been mining gold in Ghana before Ghana was born, and we are still exporting just the raw gold out there, and people are adding value to them, and we go to Dubai and go and buy it. So we need to get all of that sorted out to ensure that when we mine, majority of the value stays in this country. So that when we mine, we are able to reclaim, not just reclaim the land, but rehabilitate the land. Flora and fauna is brought back. Make sure that we can build industries out of that. Make sure that we can get billionaires out of mining. So we need the government to share with us, especially the media, this plan that they have, and so that we can also police it. But Anna, the critical thing, the next phase of this battle is me and you as the people of the media have been able to go behind and find the big Ghanaians who are behind this. Not just, the foreigners who come and mind that we arrest, or our poor brothers and sisters who we find in the we arrest, but the faceless, influential Ghanaians who are the oxygen, who are financing this thing.
Ken, have I got you still? Okay, please try and get Ken back for me, but I'll put Ken's question to Alan in studio. Alan, we have a paranoia of prosecuting people. Yes. I don't know why, but there's just this big fear of just prosecuting people. And so we dilly-dally dance around, caution, touch, thread, kitten gloves, skate on thin ice. But to go in and really hard prosecute someone, we don't do it. Yeah. And so I don't know where we're going to get that prosecution phobia, how we're going to get it off. Yeah. And the big guns, get a couple of them in prison so that the rest will set up.
Sure, that is difficult. Probably because of some of the, bureaucracies in the court systems and the number of years and that you have to be in court with people. And so maybe the Chief Justice must be looking at maybe giving a special course to deal with some of these issues so that it can really expedite prosecution of. Otherwise, if it gets crowded in all the issues that are in the court system, it may really be a deterrent to.
Let me find out. Ken. Hello, Ken.
Yes, man, I'm back.
Oh, good. The question I was going to put to you is that, and you of all people should know that, we have a massive phobia in prosecution people. I mean, we just are petrified in going to prosecute anybody. And if the person, as a quote-unquote big man, then that's complete immunity from prosecution. So how are we going to get that one scapegoat to teach the lesson? I mean, that's never going to happen.
Well, Nana, you see, so that's where me and you, we don't operate in the spider thing where the web only catches the small, flies, and then the big animals break the web. We need to go, break that mold. I agree with you. That's what has happened all this while. It's the reason why when these Chinese women and the 4 of them were arrested, they had to take a member of the coalition, Occupy Ghana, to petition the AG for the charges to be amended. If we leave it with the system will do it as it's done. So we, the media ourselves, we need to play a central role in this particular thing. Make sure that we ourselves can get the evidence that we can, incontrovertible evidence that we can, first and foremost, name and shame in our papers. And then we need to push our leaders to let them know that we have done this thing for so long. That is where we are now. And be able to support it. And the only reason why we seem to have made some little gains in this battle against Galamsey is because you have dedicated how many programs? Several programs are there. The media has followed this. That is the game changer in this particular thing. So the onus lies on us as the fourth estate of the realm to show leadership. It lies on us to be able to do what we have to do. And it will take a lot of work. It will take a lot of, toil. It will take a lot of our time. But I am pretty sure that if we keep on going the way we're going, and multimedia, the graphics and all of that, we can come together and put together a team that can do more than just investigate but forensic. Gather all the evidence, we'll push the government. I'm pretty sure that we might get somewhere with it.
Ken, the other thing is, you see, the reality is that there are thousands, if not close to millions, who are now sat at home waiting for some magical plan so they go back and digging again. I mean, where does the government come in terms of skills training and, even some education for them to realize that, listen, you're poisoning yourself, you're going to end up in dialysis, so where does the government come in so people now move away from that the dangerous mining into other sectors of the economy and help build it?
Well, I think that's definitely the next stage. We know that as we speak, in this July, the government is supposed to be training some 50 of the small-scale miners in some form of sustainable mining. And in that process, they are even going to be training some journalists as well, so that we also can understand what it is that they're doing. But we need to go beyond that. We need to be able to do some exercises that would deal with the change of the mindset. Even for us as a country, we have several other minerals apart from just gold. We have a lot of industrial minerals that when we mine, the impact on us, because it goes into industry and is able to transform our country. We need to go into these things and start changing even our own psyche as a government, our own psyche as a people, that it's not just gold, there are other things that are there. And then we need to also make sure that people who go into other forms of livelihood, we make it, profitable. Agriculture is, more sustainable than this exhaustive thing that we're doing. Now, the interesting thing, we had the first town hall meeting in Mansong Kwanta. And as we drove into Mansong Kwanta, my very first time going to that place, very green area, vegetation plush and all of that. But what you noticed was that there was no farming going on. We went in there, my driver drove around trying to look for cassava to buy. He did not get it in the village.
Wow.
He went into a chop bar. This is not a restaurant, a chop bar, to go and buy fufu, and asked to buy fufu 2 cedis. He was told that sell 2 cedis fufu, the minimum you can get is 4 cedis.
Wow.
So, this is a country in which we should make agriculture more profitable and let the people know that, if you go into it, there will be support. So we can't just go teaching them. We need to put resources behind that so that when they do it, their product, somebody gets to buy it. We don't get the market queens going to exploit them, but they can get value for that. And then so that they see that there is also some life out of that. If I don't even go into mining, I would benefit out of that. So there is so much that the government has to do, and we need to see that plan. There's been several things said about the plan, but we need to see so that as media people, Nana, you can, when you go on air, you can also see what is it that they say they are going to do. Who is going to do it? When is the person supposed to do it? What impact is that supposed to make? Is that impact happening? If it is not happening, then we can question it, and we all can help shape it up so that this country, who's been blessed with so many things, but we don't seem to be going anywhere, at least some change can happen.
Okay, Ken, hold on. I'll come back to you, but I have in studio Alan Dwomoh Sarpong, who's the Accra coordinator for Friends of Rivers and Water Bodies. I'm sure you know his big brother, who is Nana Sarpong. Yeah. So I have Alan in here. So Alan, I just want to find out with Friends and River Water Bodies. I mean, do you do like community training and educating so that you let people be aware of the importance of the environment? I mean, do you do that?
Sure. We do community engagement. We even undertake tree planting along river bodies and water bodies with communities. We even give them trees to plant themselves. So we do that, and we also use media platforms such as this also to do it.
But does it work? I mean, you sit in Accra, have your income, everything. I'm here, and there's you coming to tell me, don't chop this tree for charcoal, and don't dig this river, don't do that. You know, go and plant cassava and wait for 6 months, and then you sit in your air-conditioned car, and then you're off. I mean, does it? Do they buy it?
You'll be surprised if you should open the phone lines. You see the number of people calling from the villages to complain about what is happening. It's only few people who are doing those things. Majority of them want to secure their water bodies, want to secure their farms and their forests. It's only few people who are doing that. So majority of the people are people who want to protect the environment. You will be surprised if you should open the phone lines. More people will be calling to complain about what is happening. But the truth is that they are helpless. Those people who come in there to destroy the environment and their water come with money, come with force. Even some chiefs, they will tell you, they have been telling us that they are even threatened. So it's difficult for them to. So it's not as if they are condoning or it's the entire villagers who are doing that. No, you go to people, they plant mangoes and other trees, even in their compound. So it is only few people. That is why I'm saying that we have to move in and deal with all those few people, because the communities are even helpless. Chiefs are helpless.
Ken?
I agree completely with him. A typical example is when we went to Masun Kwanta. You could see that in that particular hall, different stakeholders that had come, about 70% of the people were really against it. And when we had the CSIR and then the Impact Assessors Association, you know, tell them about the toxicity of sites, and they had done research in their particular area, tell them about the impact of the Galamsey on them, you could see the fact that these were people who really wanted change to happen. But as my brother was saying, the few who come there are very powerful people. They are very influential people. They come with all the forces, coercive forces at their disposal, and they force the thing down the throat of the people. There are people whose farms have even been taken. Some of them, if you decide that you're not going to go, by the time you go, because they have excavators, 2 days, they have dug completely round your farm. Your farm has become an island. You're not even able to get access to it. They report to the police, really very little happens. So I'm sure that with the media, we need to do a lot of the education as well and get the scientists. And I'm happy CSI and Co have all come on board. And they have done work, you know, in particular areas that they need to share with all of us. In some of the areas, even it's not worth, you know, reclaiming the land and say you're going to plant tree crops because the whole land has been poisoned. There are different things that we need to do there. So we need to cut local anger, but we need to empower the locals, so that when they decide that different things have to be done, there will be support for it.
But can you don't think we are overwhelmed?
Nana, if me and you become overwhelmed, then definitely, you know, I mean, it's a lost cause. I am perpetually an optimist. I think that, you know, in chemical reaction, the reagents are plentiful. The catalyst is just a little. We need just a few good people to be able to push the system to actually work. Nana, it's definitely a big one. The interests that are involved in this, I'm sure the president himself is under serious strain and stress, you know, because they're very powerful and very rich people. Unfortunately for these people, the masses of the people have more power than they do. So if we continue going the way we are going, and then you just cast your mind back, since we started this, there has been some progress. Let's not allow most of those people who want to detract us to let us know that if nothing is happening. There are things happening. If you go into these areas, you will see that under Cobra, we heard that the fisher folks are telling us that fish is even beginning to come back. And let's say, man, and I mean, you know that the Thames was more poisoned than most of our water bodies. But what is happening in the Thames now? You know, so there's hope for the future. The only thing we need to do is that we, the media, need to show leadership. We need to know that this is not going to be a battle. It's a war for the long haul. So we need to be more innovative in the way we drive the content, in the way we do the advocacy. And then we need to push our leaders to work. We need to let them know that there's a lot more of us who want the system to change than the people who are benefiting from it. So that when it comes to even voting, we'll be able to whip the people around to say, you did not support us when Ghana was at stake. And that's what the politicians fear. And so I am very hopeful that, yes, it's a difficult battle. It's a tough one. We need to make a lot of sacrifice. But I think this is the time that we need to make those sacrifices so that tomorrow when they come telling the story, it will not be like the way we tell slave trade stories and we say that, we are all complicit to the selling of our brothers and sisters into slavery. At least then it will be said that when we started self-poisoning of ourselves, some people rose up, and Nana, you were part of it. Myself, I was part of it. Alan in the studio were part of it, and we will be able to change the narrative.
Well, let me digress a little bit. So here we are trying to protect the environment, get all these things out, and then Vice President comes and says, hey, guess what? I've been to China, they want bauxite, we're doing an MOU, so once upon a time, they also come and start digging bauxite. What's your position on bauxite mining?
You see, I am one of the people who of the view that when it even came to oil, if we were really not ready to ensure that we are going to get maximum benefits out of the oil, maybe the oil should stay there. I have not averse my mind fully to the bauxite thing, but what I hear, from most of the people who are anti it, and the fact that the Tua forest holds a lot for us when it comes to the environment, I think that we need to dialogue a lot more over this thing. We need to understand it. We need a scientist who have done some work to come in and advise us. We should not just, because of today's need, go and, sell our birthright for broth. So I think that this issue of bauxite, we really, really need to look at it well. How much is it that we're going to get out of that? What kind of impact is it going to make on us? And then do a total cost-benefit analysis. It should be a total cost-benefit analysis to ensure that if we decide to go in there and mine bauxite, it will be in the interest of those who are dead and gone. It will be in the interest of us who are living here today, and it will be in the interest of the future generation. If we don't do that, we should not, put any equipment in there to say we're going to mine the bauxite.
Alan, you're a lecturer.
Yes.
So, as a nation, what do we need? Do we need brains or minerals?
We need brains, yeah. Because it shows all over the world that the countries that have really made it is by brain.
So, do you think we are a little bit obsessed with we're a little bit dependent on natural resources, we found something in the ground, we're going to be a little bit richer, rather than even thinking of how do we, once we get it out of the ground, how do we turn it from black to blue, from blue to silver?
I think so. I think that we are over dependent on the raw minerals, because was it last 2 weeks or so, I heard the finance minister talking about 150 billion cocoa industry, but we are only capped at 5 billion, which is the beans. So we are a bit, engrossed with these petty things that we get out of the soil instead of thinking about a bigger picture. So we need to develop people, we need to train people, because I wonder why we cannot be producing car parts in Ghana. All we need is to do a mold and melt this thing and put it in and create the parts. It's not anything beyond our capacity, but we need to develop the people. Otherwise, this whole fight for grabbing. I asked the young man I earlier mentioned, who is a former Galamsey. That's what he told me. That okay, so you people think that you should have the right. What about if all of us come there? I can guarantee you that you will not be even be 100 yards to the place that you dig, because I can get there before you. And there are more big people who can get there before you. So that is not the way forward for us.
Can you share this idea too?
Completely, I completely do. You just ask ourselves, since God's birthday, all we've been doing is we've been mining gold. Show me one billionaire we've produced out of gold. Cocoa, we've been planting cocoa and exporting the beans. Show me one billionaire we produced out of cocoa. Even the oil that we've started here. So, and we've done this thing severally. And show me what Ghana is. Since we started mining, since we started just dealing in extractive commodities, we need to do heavy thinking. Our leaders need to realize, and I thought we all, we've been hearing a lot about structural change in our economy. But just going to go and take bauxite and somebody come take bauxite out of that, it's not going to transform our economy. What is going to happen out of the bauxite that we get? Where are we? So normally what we do, we take the bauxite out. Somebody goes to refine it, they bring it back to us, and then we pay a lot more for it. This has to change. There's some sacrifices that as Ghanaians we need to do at this particular time. To say we'll do the heavy lifting. Fortunately for us, digital technology is there. There are a lot of things that the young people of today are doing. Let's invest a lot more into brain power. And that's the way we'll be able to jump this developmental gap that we have, but wanting to go the same way and hoping that we'll be able to move from being a developed country to a developing country to a developed country. And they call it what? Inside what? What did they call that? Doing the same thing, expecting different results? What did Einstein call that? It's not going to happen. So I think that this is the time that we need to do a bit more thinking and trying to build the capacity of our people to make sure that whatever it is, whatever field that we go into, value addition has to be critical. If that is not happening, forget it. Because it has been shown that no country has developed around the route we're going. You talk about I think you mentioned in one of your radio programs. Look at the Singapores and all of that. Look at Japan. If, we really were saying it, then Japan should not be where it is. And what route have they gone through? So I think that it is important that our leaders do not take the easiest route. Some of the routes might look difficult, they might look tortuous, but in the end, that is what will be able to take us to where we have to get to. And please, all of us, we need to put our shoulders to the wheel to say what are the things that will give us the most benefit. You know that currently we are being told that reclaiming the land that has been messed up by Galamsey is going to cost us over $4 billion. Do we have that sitting there anywhere out of the gold that we have sold?
Wow.
PMMC that deals in gold, is making losses. You know what I mean? So we need to think about these things that we're doing. We're going to go mine this bauxite. Have we done the total cost to us as a people? Total cost to our ecology? And are we just going to mine it again and like the way we've done all this while from our ASU and all of that, send them out? So I really think that this is the time, all of us, and we should all stop complaining. We should all start adding to the solution to say, how can we do some serious thinking? How can we develop, the gray matter, the brain power, so that we'll be able to transform this country of ours? It is not going to happen based on the resources and things that we have.
You see,
we need to use more the people.
I'm listening to you and I'm sharing your concern, but again, the discourse out there with mining again is split. One says it's leverage, the other one says it's a loan. So the argument more is what word you choose, rather than what the things you're raising, the benefits, the disaster to our forest. I don't even if you gave me a house full of bauxite, I wouldn't know what to do with it. Nobody's trained in what to do with bauxite. But we're not talking about these things. We're talking about whether it's a leverage or a loan, and it's the proverbial MPP NDC thing. So where do we come in to bring the discourse to the real substance?
Well, Nana, you see, our politicians have shown us that they are next election thinkers. They are not next generation thinkers. So we need civil society, we need the media, we need academia to be able to come into this, to try and force and change the discourse. You see, and for me, the politicians should bear in mind, with social media that has come up, we've got Brexit, we got Trump, we got the ruling party, was beaten by that large margin. It's because now the power has gone to the people. And the people now are able to discern. So we can use the social media part to be able to galvanize all of us, to be able to cause another France to happen in Ghana. So our politicians should start changing their whole conversation from what the next election is going to be, to what the next generation is going to benefit it. So, and for me, I think one of the missing links here is academia. Academia also needs to rise up. So they have also begun towing the line of, either NDC or MPP, and that has to change. We need them to all start looking at what are the things that are in the interest of Ghana, and start thinking through this thing. But for us as people too, we also need to be able to sacrifice, so that if we are able to know that this thing might be a bit painful for the long term, but all of us should go to chart this particular course, and we all are, we can all share in the vision, and we all can follow through it, so that we can develop systems that would be more beneficial to us, things that will be more in our interest. So if they decide that, okay, bauxite is not going to come, we're going to go this longer route, but it's going to be difficult, and we all can share it, then we all push after that. Get academia to get on board, get civil society to get on board, get our entrepreneurs to also put their monies where, it ought to be, so that we can push this change that we want.
Thank you.
But this conversation should continue.
But is tomorrow Friday, Red Friday?
No, this Friday is not. Well, what we moved the Red Fridays to the last Friday of the month, every month. Okay. And then the plan is also to move, when we do the Red Fridays, to now have town hall meetings where we can take, the information to the ground. So the steering committee will meet tomorrow and we'll decide where we're going to go in July.
Okay.
With the help of the NPC, the one that we had in Mansu Kwanta, we had over 250 people gathered there from all walks of life. And really, the message really went down. And I'm sure when we continue like that, town by town, region by region, with the support of the on-air campaign and all of that we're doing, and the government also bringing in this plan that they've been talking about, I am pretty sure that we will get somewhere. And in all of this fight that we're doing with this Galamsey, we also should be pushing that value addition is going to be important.
Thank you very much, Ken. Thank you so much. That's all time will allow us. Thank you very much, Ken Achibe from Graphic. And in studio was Alan Dwomoh Sarpong. First time he's promised to bring his bottle and tips. Alan, thank you very much for showing up. For you at home, thank you for watching. Tomorrow we'll be back to do this all over again. Once again, apologies for Wednesday's Hard Truth not coming up. And last Friday of the month will be Red Friday, Warrior Red, in support of the environment. Thank you very much.